The only thing we have to fear is fear itself. When you come to the end of your rope, tie a knot and hang on. Happiness lies in the joy of achievement and the thrill of creative effort. The only limit to our realization of tomorrow is our doubts of today. I ask you to judge me by the enemies I have made. Men are not prisoners of fate, but only prisoners of their own minds. In politics, nothing happens by accident. If it happens, you can bet it was planned that way. We cannot always build the future for our youth, but we can build our youth for the future. A smooth sea never made a skilled sailor. It is a terrible thing to look over your shoulder when you are trying to lead and find no one there. Be sincere, be brief, be seated. The test of our progress is not whether we add more to the abundance of those who have much, but whether we provide enough for those who have too little. I'm not the smartest fellow in the world, but I can sure pick smart colleagues. Repetition does not transform a lie into truth. A conservative is a man with two perfectly good legs who, however, has never learned to walk forward. The truth is found when men are free to pursue it. Don't forget that I cannot see too well, so I speak louder than I need to. There are many ways of going forward, but only one way of standing still. If you treat people right, they will treat you right. 90% of the time. The nation that destroys its soil destroys itself. I'm not the product of a poor environment. I was given every advantage. We had to struggle with the old enemies of peace: business and financial monopoly, speculation, reckless banking, class antagonism, sectionalism, war profiteering. Freedom means the supremacy of human rights everywhere. Books cannot be killed by fire. Democracy cannot succeed unless those who express their choice are prepared to choose wisely. It is common sense to take a method and try it. If it fails, admit it frankly and try another. The only sure bulwark of continuing liberty is a government strong enough to protect the interests of the people. This generation has a rendezvous with destiny. We are not attacking the problems of the day in the spirit of despair. Human kindness has never weakened the stamina or softened the fiber of a free people. Rules are not necessarily sacred. Principles are. If civilization is to survive, we must cultivate the science of human relationships. Self-interest is the enemy of all true affection. We do not see faith with our eyes, but with our hearts. Let us never forget that government is ourselves, and not an alien power over us. The structure of world peace cannot be the work of one man, or one party, or one nation. People acting together as a group can accomplish things which no individual acting alone could ever hope to bring about. The virtues are lost in self-interest as rivers are lost in the sea. I'm always very firm in my opinions, but I'm always willing to change them. Better the occasional faults of a government that lives in a spirit of charity than the consistent omissions of a government frozen in the ice of its own indifference. It isn't sufficient just to want. You've got to ask yourself what you are going to do to get the things you want. There's nothing worse than a scared Congress. Peace, like charity, begins at home. The future lies with those wise political leaders who realize that the great public is interested more in government than in politics. We must be the great arsenal of democracy. Physical strength can never permanently withstand the impact of spiritual force. We are trying to construct a more inclusive society. We continue to recognize the greater needs of all the people. No government can help the destinies of people who insist in putting sectional and class consciousness ahead Governments can err. Presidents do make mistakes. But the immortal Dante tells us that divine justice weighs the sins of the cold-blooded and the sins of the warm-hearted in different scales. True individual freedom cannot exist without economic security and independence. The saving grace of America lies in the fact that the overwhelming majority of Americans are possessed of two great qualities: a sense of humor and a sense of proportion. I propose to create a civilian conservation corps to be used in simple work. The school is the last expenditure upon which America should be willing to economize. Art is not a treasure in the past or an importation from another land, but part of the present life of all the living and creating peoples. I sometimes think that the saving grace of America lies in the fact that the overwhelming majority of Americans are possessed of two great qualities: a sense of humor and a sense of proportion. Are you laboring under the impression that I read these memoranda of yours? I can't even lift them. We must scrupulously guard the civil rights and civil liberties of all citizens, whatever their background. I shall like to have it said of my first administration that in it the forces of selfishness and of lust for power met their match. I think we consider too much the good luck of the early bird and not enough the bad luck of the early worm. Courage is not the absence of fear, but rather the assessment that something else is more important than fear. In the field of world policy, I would dedicate this nation to the policy of the good neighbor. Never underestimate a man who overestimates himself. We are not attacking the problems of the day in the spirit of despair. I'd rather be right than be president. Do something. If it works, do more of it. If it doesn't, do something else. The structure of peace must be dynamic and flexible. No country, however rich, can afford the waste of its human resources. Work provides spiritual and moral meaning to life. True patriotism, it seems to me, is based on tolerance and a large measure of humility. We have undertaken a new order of things. Confidence thrives only on honesty, on honor, on the sacredness of obligations. There are as many opinions as there are experts. The world is too dangerous to live in, not because of the people who do evil, but because of the people who sit and let it happen. The measure of the restoration lies in the extent to which we apply social values more noble than mere monetary profit. In our seeking for economic and political progress, we all go up, or else we all go down. The only real thing we have is the present. Never forget that everything Hitler did in Germany was legal. Sometimes the best way to confuse the opposition is to tell the truth. A radical is a man with both feet firmly planted in the air. I'm not a genius. I'm just a tremendous bundle of experience. Don't waste time with explanations. People only hear what they want to hear. We must lay hold of the fact that economic laws are not made by nature. They're made by human beings. We defend and we build a way of life, not for America alone, but for all mankind. Human kindness has never weakened the stamina or softened the fiber of a free people. The strength of our people depends on the health and well-being of our citizens. The first truth is that the liberty of a democracy is not safe if the people tolerate the growth of private power. The truth is found when men are free to pursue it. Don't be afraid to go out on a limb. That's where the fruit is. In time of test, family is best. The great fact to remember is that the trend of civilization itself is forever upward. I cannot always control what goes on outside, but I can always control what goes on inside. We must be firm in the right as God gives us to see the right. The American people are resilient, courageous, and strong beyond measure. If we can't have equality, let's at least be fair. We must be the change we wish to see in the world. We are going to win this war and the peace that follows. We seek peace, enduring peace. A better world is not only possible, it is necessary. The world order which we seek is the cooperation of free countries, working together in a friendly, civilized society. If these words inspired you even a little, imagine what your journey could become. So don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And always remember, your future is built by what you do today.